to Teatime Oddities, the podcast where we explore the strange and the unusual throughout history. I'm your host Danielle, and today we will be discussing the odd history of dentistry. So, pop the kettle on, grab a warm cup of tea, and let's get started. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I hope everybody is doing well, and that you had a good month of May. It is crazy to think that May is already over. This year has definitely been going by very fast for me. Now, you may be wondering why I chose to do a dentist-themed episode, because I know a lot of people have a big fear of the dentist. I never used to have a fear of the dentist, but, getting older, there's a lot more things that are wrong with my teeth. So it's definitely a much more stressful experience when I go now. And I actually just went to the dentist last week. This kind of was on the forefront of my mind. So when my friend M recommended it, I definitely wanted to do it. And my friend M actually has a podcast. If you'd like to check it out, her podcast is Rooted, and you can find her on Instagram, rooted.pod. Her podcast is more focused on plants and the history behind them and also the folklore. So I definitely recommend you check out her podcast because it's something different, but it's still kind of similar to my podcast as well. So thank you again, Em, for the suggestion. Hope you enjoy the episode. The tea that I'm drinking today is strawberry rhubarb parfait. I'm definitely getting more accustomed to drinking decaf teas because I tend to drink tea either in the morning or like really late at night. There's no in between for me. So I'm definitely beginning to like herbal teas a lot more. And this one especially is really good. All right, let's get straight into the episode. Many people have a fear of the dentist, and it's not uncommon for many people to avoid it altogether. But, ironically, avoiding the dentist only makes it more necessary for you to visit. I myself have never been a fan of the dentist, but I've come to realize that my oral health is something that I need to be mindful of. And while doing the research for this episode, I became well aware of the fact that I shouldn't fear the dentist nowadays, because the things that they used to do are far more terrifying. Prior to the medical advances that have brought us to where dental hygiene is in the present, there were a lot of misconceptions and just downright weird ideas surrounding people's teeth. Beginning in the Mayan civilizations, teeth were revered as having mystical properties and were often decorated with turquoise or jade. Nowadays, people put gems on their teeth, so it seems that kind of practice has prevailed. Many other cultures, such as Egyptians, Babylonians, and the Chinese, believed that tooth pain and issues were caused by gods. Babylonians in particular believed that bruxism, or teeth grinding, was caused by the presence of a demon, so they slept with a human skull beside them to scare the demon away. There was a wide array of rituals to cure oral issues, including prayers, magical spells, biting the heads off of live mice, and even rinsing their mouths with urine from a child. Due to the fact that people did not know what caused issues in their teeth, there were not many preventative methods to get rid of cavities and/or other tooth ailments, so tooth pain was a very prevalent issue. The Chinese actually used celibacy, arsenic, and acupuncture as a means to prevent tooth decay in the 12th century. Later, in 13th century China, preventative dental work was becoming much more common. One method included pouring a thin layer of gold on teeth as a means to hold them in place and keep them from falling out of the mouth. While moving to the Americas, a Central American man's skull from around 2500 to about 2300 BC showed his teeth were filed down and fit to hold a ceremonial denture, crafted from the palate of either a wolf or a jaguar. One of the most common beliefs of ancient people was that worms lived inside their teeth and were the cause of what we now know as cavities. One older text stated that, quote, "When the tooth became hollow and filled with food and dirt, fine worms arise through the decay, and there results severe pain," unquote. It was only logical that the next step of ridding yourself from tooth pain was to kill the worms inside your teeth. I would like to make a quick note here that writing all of this stuff down and now repeating it out loud makes me feel very ill. and I'm sure listening to it is not much more fun. I don't know why I was so hell-bent on doing this episode, but I'm here and we're just going with it now. Some of the practices that were used to quote-unquote kill the worms in your mouth included filling the holes in the teeth with hot wax, even covering your teeth with honey and waiting for the worms to come out. And when all else failed, tooth extraction was the final step. Sadly, all of these practices just caused more oral issues, especially with the growing popularity of sugar. Tooth decay only became more prevalent. But thanks to Pierre Fauchard, our understanding of modern dentistry became vastly different. In the 1700s, Fauchard published a book called The Surgeon Dentist, which gave a comprehensive view into not only treatment for oral health issues, but also the preventative care for teeth. He introduced the ideas of tooth fillings, the use of dental prosthetics, and how sugar was a leading cause of tooth decay. Despite the fact that medical advances happen frequently in our modern society, when you look back at where we began, we can really be thankful that our dentist doesn't prescribe arsenic, urine, or cozying up with a skull at night. You can find a full list of my sources in the description below. You can also follow me on Instagram at Teatime Oddities. I post photos related to the episodes as well as odd stories in the middle of the month. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teatime Oddities. Make sure to keep the kettle on and check in next month. Goodbye.